Would you like to begin a series of strategies that will propel you into achieving personal mastery? Do you desire to have breakthroughs in unlocking your potential? Do you seek to live a life that is full of joy, peace, and happiness? Each week, join Charles and Demetrius as they share tools and strategies that will help you take control of your life so you can live a life of peace, joy, and abundance. Now, here are your hosts, Charles and Demetrius.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of Inner Success Radio. This is Chuck Rivers alongside host Billionaire Brown, back for another exciting episode with another amazing guest. Demetrius, what's going on, brother?
Everything's going on, Chuck. We made it, man.
Yeah, another week, man.
I'm still pretty geeked off of our new format with the new Wednesdays that we release on Mondays.
Yeah, but by the time this goes live, we should have a few shows in the bag already. So yeah, looking forward to the feedback we're going to be getting from those episodes as well, man.
Yeah, we're going current. We're going current, and we're letting people know that we're real people, and we're not just behind the booth. You know, we actually we talk a lot about timeless. A lot of our podcasts are very timeless. Right, like you said on yesterday's podcast, is you can listen to our podcast 30 years, 50 years down the line, and the principles that we talk about and our guests talk about are timeless. But with these new recordings we're releasing on Monday, we're touching on some really current things. So I'm still really excited about our first recording yesterday. Yeah.
Well, by the time this one goes live, that one had already been released. So.
Oh yeah. See, look at that. We're like robots in a sense. This gives us an opportunity to loosen up and touch our listeners a little bit faster than normal, which is really cool.
Yeah, man. Yes, awesome. Stu, welcome to Inner Success Radio. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with our guest.
Hey guys, great to be on. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, cool stuff. Now, before we get into the recording, Stu, Demetrius, go ahead and take us away with the question of the day.
All right, fantastic. So the question of the day is, I'm going to make it really simple for this podcast because I'm really excited to get into what Stu is all about. The question of the day is going to be this. Simply teach me something that I don't already know. All right, for those of you that are listening to us in the gym and, running on the treadmill, not able to write down the question and keep up with us, and we never forget about those of you that listen to us on your way to work every morning, shout out to you guys. Here's the question again, and then we're going to throw it over to Chuck so he can swing his bat first. All right, the question is, teach me something that I don't already know. Chuck, teach me something I don't already know.
I would have to say, I don't know. Probably at the beginning when we started, I think you had one of your questions of the day was something about what's something new that we had learned that past week or that previous day or so. And I think I had told you I learned a new jiu-jitsu hold, or I guess a new jiu-jitsu defense move where if somebody's mounting on top of you, there's a specific way that you can get them off. So that's what I would teach you. I don't know if you know how to do that, but it was when the guy had showed me, I was mind blown because he initially had told me, he said, "Hey, okay, get me off of you," and I'm doing everything, and I couldn't get him to move, and he gave me these two tips, and the next time he got on me, I was able to get him off in a matter of seconds. So that's what I would teach you. I would teach you how to
hurt somebody.
No. This is a defense move. So this is if you're mounted. So this is if somebody's on top of you. How to get them off quick and easy.
All right, we could take that. We could take that defensive move. Maybe you could throw together a YouTube video and we can send it to our fans on Facebook, on our Facebook page. Thank you so much, Chuck. And let's go over to Stu. Stu, we're asking you to teach us something that we don't already know.
That is a great question. I would say that you can always do one more. And you fill in the blank to what one more something is, whether it's one more push-up, whether it's one more mile, whether it's one more something, you can always do one more. There's always something left in the tank. And I think every day when I'm at the gym myself, I remind myself of that because every day it would it would be easy to stop at whatever goal I have. But that one more makes me stronger. And over the course of a year, that extra one more, or 1%, if you want to call it that, makes you a whole lot better at the end of the year.
Wow. You can always do one more. Can always do one more. Just do one more. Right, that's it. Just one more. Right, I like that. Thank you for sharing, Stu. And the one thing that I'll share that I would like to teach you guys, if you don't already know, is Stu. What's the capital of New York? New York.
Albany.
Oh man, you're killing me. All right, so I gotta give. Let me give another one. Ah man, Charles, did you know that?
Yeah, because I'm from Buffalo, so I knew Albany was.
Ah man, all right. So what's this? What's the capital of New Jersey?
Trenton.
Come on, Stu. What are you doing?
All right. I used to be an elementary school teacher, so
Oh man! All right, teach you something that you don't already know. Let's see. Teach you something that you don't already know.
What about anything related to C.T. Fletcher?
C.T. Fletcher. Oh man. Oh, know what? Here's something that I know y'all don't know. If y'all know this, then that's really cool. All right, here's something you don't know. Do you guys know the last word in the Bible?
I do not know that one.
No, I don't.
Okay. The last word in the Bible, depending on who you're asking and how technical you want to get, the last word in the Bible, the written part of the Bible, is amen. And the last words of the Bible, to be technical, is the end. So I'll take that one. Back over to you, Charles. Let's get this interview started.
Awesome, cool. You know what's funny? And I was thinking amen, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to. I think I think when we were pre-recording our episode yesterday, we were talking about the Ty Lopez video and being humble. So in that moment, I was humble because well, I could be wrong. I thought amen, but I wasn't too sure. So
yeah, you just jump out there and say amen. There we go. Yeah, that video yesterday was really dope too. Ty Lopez. Shout out to everybody who listened to our podcast from our first one, right? The first of the current ones that we do. Ty Lopez. Shout out.
Yeah, awesome, cool beans. So again, Stu, thank you so much for coming on. I want to just jump right into it. So one of the things that we're always interested in is learning a person's journey. Learning how a person ended up on the path that they're on. So to take us down that road, Stu, tell us a little bit about your journey and tell us a little bit about the work that you do today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey starts really as a child. Like so many kids, we all have dreams, right? We want to be artists. We want to be doctors and lawyers. Well, I wanted to be an athlete, like many little boys growing up in the city of Philly. This is back in the day when, Dr. J was my idol and Mike Schmidt playing third base for the Phillies.
Yeah.
And
Mike Schmidt, yeah.
Exactly, right? So that was my dream, was to be an athlete, and I knew I could be it. I lived right in the city, in a row home in the city with a playground just right around the corner, and every single day I dedicated myself. But at some point in my life, at the age of about 8, 9, 10, in some of those years where people are shaping my thoughts, my parents, my friends, my family did a really good job of extinguishing that fire of Stu wanting to be an athlete. And what I was labeled instead was fat, unathletic, unable to achieve those dreams, come up with some more realistic things. And like so many people do, we believe what we surround ourselves with, all that negativity. And what was produced was a guy who in his 20s was 260, 270 pounds, a successful businessman in my own right, but depressed, unhappy, and knowing that somewhere inside my belly, that spark, that little ember that was still in my belly was still ready to ignite. And ultimately, what came of that is a guy that's talking to you today on your podcast, who is now a 3-time Ironman triathlon finisher, which is a very long triathlon, if you're not aware. I'm a multi-marathoner. And today, I like to keep it simple. I help people. I'm here to spread the word and help people achieve whatever it is. If it's more sales, that's great. If it's more bench presses or bigger weights, that's great. If it's running a 5K, I don't care what it is. It's all about tapping into that inner child and reigniting that little ember into a blazing flame again.
And so what was it that because typically whenever there's a change or whenever somebody decides to change the progression or the direction of their life, there's usually like a particular defining moment, whether it's somebody that says something to you or you come across the book by happenstance, put that in quotations. What was it that made you realize that, hey, the direction I'm going when you were weighing 270 wasn't the direction that you wanted to go in?
Yeah. So you're right. You're absolutely right. There usually is that time. And for me, my wife, so here I am, I'm 27, 28. My wife was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And here was someone who had every reason to throw in the towel. Her limbs were burning. Seemingly everything was on fire because it's a neurologic, it's a disease that attacks the myelin, the insulation of your nerves. So the things that she feels is numbness and pain and burning. And she had every reason to say, I quit. Just give me my medicine and I'm just not going to take care of myself because, poor me. But no, instead what she did was take her medicine every day. She went to the gym. She ate healthier and healthier. And here I was, this quote unquote healthy person who was not going to the gym, who was not eating correctly, who was choosing not to smile every day and choosing to find reasons that were demotivating, maybe depressing to me. And I was living a very negative, unhealthy lifestyle. And that was my awakening point that said, wait a second, someone with every reason to quit is not quitting. Someone with every reason not to quit is quitting. What's wrong with this picture? And she was very much kind of that tipping point unknowingly. Still to this day, I call her my inspiration, but that was my tipping point for sure. Nice.
My second question is, so have you heard of CT Fletcher?
I have not.
Okay. If you get a chance, I encourage you to look him up. Pretty much his story was he was he still is, but he was a professional bodybuilder. He was in competitions and whatnot, and he was having a whole lot of health challenges, a lot of heart issues, and the day before his competition, he went to see his doctor, and his doctor told him, if you go and compete tomorrow, that you're going to die because his heart was bad and whatnot. And I forgot how everything went down, but long story short, CT Fletcher went and competed anyway. And this was, Demetrius, I don't know if you correct me if I'm wrong, this was a while ago. This was probably heading back in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Couple of decades.
Yeah, a couple of decades. But CT Fletcher today he's still lifting, not professionally, but he has his own gym out in California. And he is such an inspiration. A lot of his stuff is very motivational. And the question that I have is, people that work out, people that are in the gym consistently, isn't there like a particular mindset that it's not just about lifting weights, but you can apply it to the different areas of your life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would completely agree. And I guess that comes back to when you said, when Demetrius, when you asked, what's something we can learn, I said, you can always do one more. To me, that's one of my takeaways every day from the gym. If you've ever done CrossFit, we would say in CrossFit, you can do anything for 1 minute. You can do anything. If it's box jumps, if it's jump rope, if it's 20 more push-ups, you could do it. Yeah. The difference is that the transition from I won't or I can't to I can. But then from I can to I will. Once you make that shift from I can to I will, anything is possible. And the gym, to bring it back to your question, Chuck, is that's one thing that I'm always consistently reminded. One more. you can do it. Yeah.
And which brings me to you said you do a lot of things, right? And I have two questions for you. One is in regards to you being a 3-time triathlon champion, winner, whatever you want to call it. And then the second question is about your wife and her multiple sclerosis. My question about 3-time triathlon winner is, are you familiar with Dick and Rick Hoyt?
Of course I am. The Hoyts, yes.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
goodness. The first time I was introduced to them, it was at a top producer, dinner that we had in Texas, and they played this video of Dick and Rick Hoyt, and that was my first introduction to what triathlon is. I never knew about what triathlon is, and being that you're very familiar with that, I was curious to know that type of helping people. That's another level. That might be even another level to doing. You could do just one more, right? Triathlon is one of it's like climbing Mount Everest to me, right? That's how difficult I see the triathlon. What life lessons did you learn, or do you learn every time that you do these triathlons?
That's such a great question. So you haven't stumped me. It's which one do I share first? I think I go back to what I just mentioned, which is we go from a mindset of I can't to I can, but then there's a big jump from I can to I will. So that's one lesson. Now, embedded within that lesson, I can to I will, there's a lot of cliches, old sayings out there that says, everything is 90% mental. And it's a big reminder every single time I do an Ironman, which is the longest distance of triathlon you can do. It's a mega race. It takes up to 17 hours to complete one of these things. It is, I have to remind myself, the physical journey that I have been on to prepare for this day, the hay is in the barn, as they say. I've done all the weightlifting. I've done all the bike riding and swimming and running practice. Today, it's mental. I am prepared for this thing, but your body and frankly, others can do a really good job of telling you it's impossible. This is crazy. You're not meant to do this. And in fact, what you believe can come true. And frankly, if you believe it, whether it's good or bad, it will come true, good or bad, right? If I believe I won't finish a race, guess what's going to happen? I'm not finishing that race. But if I believe I will, then I will. And I'm constantly reminded. I wish I could tell you that I've won this triathlon. I have not won, but I've completed these 3 Ironmen. Ironman is a massive, massive distance.
Wow. Okay, so you completed it, didn't win. So completing it is a whole nother level in itself, because wouldn't it be safe to assume that a lot of people do not complete it?
Well, that is correct. So would it help to maybe explain what the Ironman distance is?
Yeah, please.
All right. So there are all different kinds of distances of triathlon. So if someone says I'm a triathlete, you might have done a sprint distance or an Olympic distance like they do in the Olympics, right? Those are smaller distance triathlons. An Ironman is the longest one that's out there, and it's a 2.4 mile swim followed by a 112-mile bike ride, followed by a full 26.2-mile marathon. All in under 17 hours, you have to complete this race. And that's what you've seen Dick Hoyt pushing his son.
Oh, man.
That's what makes his story so inspirational. Not only it's large enough of an accomplishment to do it yourself, let alone pushing and pulling your son around the whole day. Yes.
Wow. And because you also mentioned that your wife was an inspiration to you, with this multiple sclerosis. That's a tongue twister always for me.
It is.
Now, I've seen and from my outside looking in, from the people that I know, it seems like that's a very expensive, condition to treat. And it's also very it's something that has to be catered to every day, right? Now, I've seen on both sides. I've seen some people that affect and take down in a negative way. I mean, that's their crutch. That's their reason for mediocrity and not achieving things. And then on the other extreme, I've met individuals like your wife. I also know a young lady in the part-time business that I'm in, right? That's extremely successful. But she also talks about the flip side to it. My punchline to this question is, does your wife have anything? Do you and or your wife have anything, whether if it's counseling or if it's speaking engagements for individuals specifically for multiple sclerosis?
So that's a great question. So the answer is, so in other words, do we provide it? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Or
Are you guys a part of anything that helps individuals get that same type of mindset as your wife does for multiple that are suffering with multiple sclerosis?
So the easy answer is yes, and that's
Awesome.
through my own efforts. That's me reaching out to you. That's speaking to groups pro bono. I don't make money on all my speaking engagements, and I do speak around the country. But I do believe enough in helping people uncover what took me years to uncover. But it was through my experiences that I've been able to see more positive peace, to use some of your taglines, that peace and that joy and the abundance that life has to offer. If I can help people with multiple sclerosis or any other conditions, frankly, through a different mindset, that's what I love to do. And I do that very much so. Yes.
Because it is very expensive, right?
Yes.
And it does require some type of discipline. Because I think that's what it really, it's something, your wife has to do something for that every day, right?
Every single day. She has medicines that she has to take every day. She goes in for infusions every month. She has medicines that are prescribed to her to counteract the side effects of other medicines that she's taking. It's it's a laborious task, and one that you wouldn't wish on anybody. But in some ways, we view this as, dare I say, a blessing, because of all the different life lessons that we're able to help other people. Frankly, we teach our children some of these life lessons. It's in many ways even a blessing in disguise.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's nice. And I just wanted to piggyback off, Stu, what you said there. I have a condition called neurofibromatosis. I'm not sure if you've heard of it before. It's a neurological condition where tumors attach themselves to the nervous system. And they have different levels of it, but mine's are pretty visible. But thank God all my tumors are benign. But for the longest time, Stu, to be honest, man, I felt that I was cursed. I was like, well, why do I have this condition? Every time I'm out, I'm getting stared at. People are talking about me. We just went on a cruise, and I can only imagine the amount of stares that I had got while we were on ship and even when we got off the ship. But you're right. I think if we look at it, or if we reframe it in a different context, saying, hey, okay, well, this is bigger than me. There's other people out there who have this condition and who are not on the path that, that we're on as far as, personal development, growth. And because I try to eat healthy, I do work out a few times a week. So I focus on the things that I can control. Right. I can't control the fact that, I have this condition, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that have conditions that they can't control, but there are things that they can focus on to help them deal with that situation. So I did want to, I guess, confirm that, hey, we have to look outside of ourselves. There's a bigger purpose and more times than not for people that have these certain conditions. So as far as your wife and the path that she was on, and was there a moment for her in her life where she said, hey, I need to focus on the things that I can control, which is, eating right, working out and whatnot?
I think that's an everyday decision that she makes. I don't know that she never verbalized her soul searching to me. but I do think that every day she chooses, right? And just like we all do, just like we probably all teach our kids, if you have any kids, is, every day you wake up and you can choose to have a good day or you can choose to have a bad day. And what I admired so much about my wife is she was making a choice every day to not even necessarily about thinking positive, but to do what she can.
Yeah.
You don't have all the answers, but the only thing you can do is make their next right step. And if that next right step means going to the gym and working on your balance, because for her, balance is an issue, or not having the candy bar, but having an apple instead because of the toxins that are in the candy bar that affects the inflammation, which affects her body, right? All these mini choices ultimately affect her and her health. So, we talk just every day about we have a choice every single day and make the next right move in the situation.
Nice. And a quick question. So have you and your wife looked into some of the Eastern modalities of healing, like the Qigong and Tai Chi?
Not in particular, no. However, yoga is very much a part of our health practice. Mm-hmm. It centers us both spiritually and physically. It's phenomenal. So you mentioned Tai Chi. For us, it's yoga. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I asked that because Harvard did a study on Tai Chi. I think there's a book out there where they did they brought in thousands of people who had a host of conditions, and through a rigorous, I think 6 to 8 week program of Tai Chi exercises, some of the people who had tried all different types of healing modalities actually saw some considerable improvements in their condition. So,
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, and Stu, would you say you was talking about, I guess, being overweight? I guess my question for you is, like, would you consider yourself at that point fat or obese?
I was in such denial that I would have called myself big, right?
Big, okay.
So I was the dude. So again, from Philly, I love my cheesesteaks. I love my pizza.
Yeah. South Street.
South Street, Lorenzo's, Gino's,
yes.
right? All this stuff. So yeah, and I like my cheesesteak hoagies, right? So, but I was one of those guys. I would call myself big boned, right? People would say, "Big Stu, what's up?" I was one of those guys wearing a double extra large, but you wouldn't see me sitting there in a chair and say, "Look at that fat guy." You would say, "Dude is big," right? In college, I used to be on the Herschel Walker program where I thought maybe I would lose weight if I did 500 push-ups. 500 push-ups a day. So I was one of those guys with a big chest, big arms and a big tummy, but you wouldn't call me fat. You would say, "Dude is big," right?
Okay.
And I think that's I found a way to justify my size. I'm big boned. Well, had I not done 500 push-ups a day, I wouldn't be so big. Had I not, my genetics, you know what I mean? If I could run, because I'm not built to run, maybe I wouldn't be so big, but I'm not built for it. That was my excuse, right? And so that's kind of how I looked at myself.
Okay, so your key thing is you enjoy helping people.
Yes.
Right? You've said that offline and you've said it online here on the podcast. Helping people. All right, so there's a big guy, unhealthy guy, there's a fat guy, there's an obese guy and or woman that's listening to this podcast right now, and they heard your story of how you were this big guy, and then you made some adjustments, a lifestyle change, etc. What would you say to that person? From what I understand, there's a lot of unhealthy, obese people that continue to live that same lifestyle of eating and what they're putting in their body because they don't feel that it's like they don't feel that they can go back in the other direction. what would you say to that person right now? Like, is there anything that we can say, or the more that we try to, encourage them that it's a big health issue, the more that they're going to run away from it? Or is there something that we could actually speak into these people to help them see that, hey, you could do it little by little, or whatever you would like to say?
Yeah, I think if you believe it, then it will become. And if you believe that you can be smaller, if you believe that you could have been the athlete you wanted to be, that's my story, right? If you believe that that you have the ability to lose weight, then you will do it if you choose to. But willing to do something is a choice. There's a difference between I want and I will. And a difference between I can and I will. That transition that I've referenced a number of times is the biggest hurdle. And it's one thing to say it 20 times out loud, I will, I will, I will. If you don't believe it, then it's never really going to happen. You just saying it over and over is not going to happen, but you actually have to act on it. But if you act on it, there is no doubt that you will do whatever that goal is. If it's losing weight, if it's doing one more, if it's doing an Ironman, it doesn't matter what it is. If you believe it, then you will do it. But you have to, connect those dots.
Wow. So you have to believe it. So that's what you're saying. You're helping that person right now to answer the question. That's the way you're saying you would help that. First thing you would do to help that person. Hey, listen, why do you have to believe it first? I can't put this plan together. I can't suggest or make ideas. That's not what Stu is able to do. Stu is saying you have to believe it first. Is that fair? That's what you're saying, right? Okay.
A workout is not a workout plan that your personal trainer or your dietitian or someone tells you to do. That's just a plan that worked for someone. But if you don't believe in it, if you don't have the experiences to fuel those beliefs, it's never gonna work for you. That's why there's a lot of cliches out there. Diets don't work, right? A diet is a diet. It's not a lifestyle, right? So, there's lots of cliches on that. And that's because ultimately what fuels your beliefs are your experiences. And if your experiences do not correlate to you losing weight, if they don't correlate to that workout plan that you had, that your friend gave you or that your trainer gave you, then you're never going to succeed. You have to provide yourself experiences that will fuel your beliefs. So if you are a negative thinker, but you believe that you can become healthy, guess what? You're probably not going to be healthy because your experiences are negative. However, if you surround yourself with people who believe in you and they give you those experiences, they give you small wins, compliments, whatever it is, just small little wins that become experiences that now build up your belief system. Well, now you have a platform to train for that 5K, to do that Ironman, to put your business plan together, whatever your goal is, you now have a foundation with a strong belief system. But you can't build that foundation and build that building until you've given yourself experiences that fuel that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I love it. I have another question I want to add on top of that, but I know Chuck is itching over there to get a question out.
So just really quick, because you actually already answered it, Stu, because I was going to ask, how can somebody build belief if they've never had any past experiences? Like, for example, I'll use myself as an example. One of my goals is actually to put on weight. I'm 6 foot, I weigh about 178. I want to get to at least 190. But of course, I wanted to be a healthy 190. But I've never done that in the past before, right? I've never put on 12 to 15 pounds within a period of time. So for me, so what you're saying is, for me, it would be getting around other people who are on the same trajectory as me. Could it be even as mentioned, CT Fletcher? He's an inspiration. Could it be watching those type of videos as well, or is it more so being around those type of people who are just you have physical contact with?
Absolutely. So imagine this. I might tell you, Chuck, I might say, well, eat a lot of shakes and protein and peanut butter, right? But if I
Hmm.
just tell you and you haven't surrounded yourself with people going through, you might say, Stu, you don't know me. You don't know that my body doesn't do well with those ingredients, right?
Nice. Yeah.
So they say you are an average of the people you hang around, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if all I do is surround myself with people who are telling me what to do but haven't gone through it, then I'm never really going to identify, and I'm going to continue to be lost. I'm going to have a lot of experts telling me what to do, when really what I need is to go along a journey with someone. So if you want to surround yourself with people who know, I mean, if you want to gain weight in your example, healthy
Mm-hmm.
weight, surround yourself with people who are going through that journey of gaining weight the healthy way. If you want to gain your weight and do it unhealthy and get fat, a bad fat, then surround yourself with people eating cheesesteaks and pizza like Stu was, right?
Yeah.
So you are an average of the people you hang around. And I would say either surround yourself with people with going through that journey or who have been through that journey, and they will bring you up. I truly believe that. That's how I've been successful, not only in my physical journey, but my business life. It's you surround yourself with the people that you want to be an average of, and that's what you will become.
Yeah, and there's a quote that I like. They said if you're in a room with 5 millionaires, you'll probably more likely be the sixth. So,
That's correct. It's the same idea.
yep, nice. Demetrius, so I know you said you had another question for
Oh
Stu. You
yeah,
want to?
yeah. I do. Okay, so Stu, you threw in a word there, and I maybe it flew over some of our listeners' heads, but it's a key word for me. It's actually a phrase. You said small wins.
Mhm.
You said small wins, and that means something to me. And that's a phrase that's rarely used. What do you mean? Can you expound on what you mean by these small wins you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, look, people sometimes they look at their goal, whatever that goal is. If it's again, it's open up a business. It's you create that for yourself. It might be your goal is to gain those 15 healthy pounds, right? But along the way, we need some checkpoints, don't we? And we need to celebrate a few successes along the way to let us know that we're on the right track. And those are those small wins. So rather than always being focused on the end goal, we have to make small, what I call A to B shifts. So right now I'm in state A, right? I'm not where I want to be. Letter B is where I want to be, right? That's my goal. Well, in order to go from A to B, I have to have mini A to B wins, mini goals along the way. And sometimes that win is at dinner tonight. I'm going to choose to have an apple instead of a bowl of ice cream. That is a small win, right? I'm still eating something, I'm still getting extra calories, but I'm choosing a small win here. And I'm going to celebrate the heck out of that one. Now, once I get that small win, what's my next win? My next win is, whatever. But we have to celebrate that, right? Because if we don't, if all we do is focus on the end goal, well, that goal it's unrealistic to go after. It's too far out there. So what I try to do is break up my massive goal into small chunks. If I'm going to run a marathon, but I've never run a 5K, and if I've never run a 5K, well, I better start by running around the block once, one time. And it's these small wins that we should be high-fiving and celebrating because you got to get there before you tackle that massive goal.
Man, that is so cool. All right, so share with everybody. Let's make this real time. We gave a few, examples, but what's a small winning for you today? What's a small winning that you experience for yourself today? A small winning.
Yeah. So today, I'll be honest with you. So I was training for my fourth Ironman, Wisconsin, and I discovered I had two hairline fractures in my back, in a bone in my back. And today, 3 months later, I was able to run for 20 minutes. Now you have to,
Woo!
right? Now, so here's the deal. Now you might say, but Stu, you're an Ironman and you're a marathoner, you've done all this crazy stuff. What's the big deal? What's a 20-minute run? Well, dude, are you kidding me? I had 2 fractures in my back. Today, a 20-minute run, man, I am high. I'm posting this one on Facebook. I need some likes. Are you kidding me? I couldn't walk 3 months ago. Today, I am celebrating the heck out of this 20-minute run. And that's a small win.
Man, that's cool. And they're filled all throughout the day, right? It's like playing Super Mario Brothers back in the day. Those little stars, those little things you can pick up. You know what I mean? And it's really big. Like, it's not just we pick up these small winnings. I like when you just said, you get excited. You said there should be a lot of high fives with these little small winnings. Some people are just walking over these small winnings, and then they're looking at somebody like Stu and like, why is he getting so excited? He just did 20 minutes. And Stu realizes, like, hey, I just had a broken thing. Come on, man. Get excited. Man, yeah. I love that, and I love the way that you broke it down. I couldn't have done it better myself, man. Awesome.
Thank you.
And so we talked about a little bit about mindset when it comes to health. We talked a little bit about the physical side, but I really want to hone down as we begin to wind down here on the dietary. That's overlooked a lot when we were talking about health. A lot of people say, well, if I'm just working out in the gym, what does it matter if I'm eating 3 cheesesteaks a week, right? I'll just go in there and burn it off. But we know that's not the case. So can you talk a little bit, Stu, about the importance that dietary health is when it comes to when people, if they're training for a triathlon, or if somebody wants to get in the gym and start working out? Can you just speak on the importance of dietary health?
It's incredible. And while I'm not a dietitian, I consider myself my own little expert because it's become a passion of mine, just dietary rules of the road. Because here's the deal. I have trained for a marathon and gained weight. It is possible, folks, right? Because you know what happens when you exercise? You can fill in the blank. You get hungry, right? You're burning 5,000 calories in a workout because, I have to ride just for fun. I have to ride 100 miles to train for an Ironman. And guess what? I just burned 10,000 calories. I'm hungry. I'm about to eat a whole pizza, right? Yeah. So I can gain weight training for these things. And what you learn is that that looking good is not just about going to the gym. It's about what you put into your body. And it just like most of what we do is 90% mental. The same thing goes with your diet. It's mental because once you've kind of reeled in and controlled what you're putting in your mouth and into your body, it really does affect the way you look. And that not only the way you look, but the way you feel. I've become my own little expert on the things we put in our body, what gluten does to your body, what dairy does to our body. And once you understand what foods act like sandpaper to your intestines, right? What foods inflame your body doesn't like. It might not be allergic to it, but your body doesn't like it. Once you understand what your body responds to, it's amazing how much you progress in terms of your physical looks or even your athletic goals. So am I answering your question okay?
Yes, no, you definitely are. Yeah, you definitely are. And just to give a personal example of myself, just a few years ago, I went vegan. I went straight vegan for about 3 to 4 month period during the summertime. And I coupled that with working out and drinking at least a gallon of water every day. And I had so much energy. It was amazing. And I didn't need to get that much sleep. I think off of 5 or 6 hours sleep, I had energy to carry me throughout the entire day.
Yep.
So, that just confirms that it's really important that, we focus on the things that we're putting into our body, because food eventually just gets broken down to a chemical level. And if you look at some of these candy bars and these cheesesteaks and these white flour products, all that stuff is just garbage into the body. They say garbage in and garbage out. So
you are what you eat, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yes, for sure. As we begin to wind down here, Stu, I'm pretty sure somebody listening in has thought about doing a triathlon. they're thinking about doing some type of marathon race. What type of advice would you give to that person who wants to get started training? Like, what's some of the mindset they need to have, and what are some of the foods they should avoid while they're training, and what's some of the foods that they should look into incorporating into their diet?
So you asked me two questions there. The first one is the mindset. And the mindset is 3 words, and those 3 words are embrace the pain. So, like I said, some of the hardest workouts I've ever had, and again, some of my workouts are ride 100 miles and then run 5. That's just a workout, right? Yeah. And those are easier than the first run around the block where you start getting blisters and the shoes don't feel right and you're sweating and the clothes don't feel good. That is sometimes more painful than a really crazy long workout. So what's nice is we all start at square zero and get ready to embrace the pain. It's never going to feel good to get yourself out of the comfort zone that you've been in. So that's why they call it a comfort zone, right? Your body is comfortable. It's normal. It's feeling good. And even if you're feeling crummy, your body's in a state of normal, right? So anytime you give it irritation, and irritation might be get out of the normal, you better get ready for some pain. And that's where I come in to embrace the pain. You fill in the blank what pain means. Is it blisters? Is it my heart beating real fast? Is it, wow, it hurts to move this muscle because I'm sore from those bench presses? Whatever it is, embrace it. That's part of the journey. Give it a hug. It's not going anywhere, but it will get better. I promise you. So that's the mindset I would challenge everyone to have, is embrace the pain. In terms of the foods, I do believe in eating what we would call clean. I think that we have found a way. The big food companies are here to profit off of us. They are not here for our health. I hate to break it to you. They are not here to make you healthy. They are here to make money. The more you can remove foods that inflame your body, and that includes, it doesn't mean you have a gluten allergy, but the more gluten you can remove from your body, I believe, I'm not a dietitian, but I believe it reduces inflammation. The more water you can drink, your body is 90+% water. So damn it, give it water. Give it what it needs. Soda is not water. Iced tea, while is mainly water, has a lot of chemicals in it. Yeah. Give yourself water. Water, and remove foods, whether it's gluten, whether it's dairy products, remove foods that are natural inflammation causers is a great first start.
Nice.
All right. And what book are you reading right now, Stu?
So the book I'm reading right now is called Get a Grip. And it's actually a business book, and it's about leadership, and it's about getting organizations, businesses kind of aligned towards a goal. And I read a lot of books like that because it applies not only to business, but it applies to my personal life too. It applies to my household. If you think of my wife and myself, we are the leaders of that business, of the Schulman household, right? So a lot of those things I like to read. And so currently it's the book called Get a Grip by Gino Wickman and Mike Patton.
Love it. And I usually give closing remarks. However, I want to, instead of giving a closing remark, I'd rather, ask you another question, and then we could pass it over to, Charles, so he can get us out of here. Sacrifice and reward. Let's assume that everybody that's listening understands what reward is. But they have a challenge, for whatever the reason, understanding what sacrifice is. People have tried to explain it to them, and it's so complicated they just get turned off by it. It's too complicated to even understand the word sacrifice and how it has a connection with reward. Mm-hmm. How would you define sacrifice?
That is a great question. How would you define it? Look, a sacrifice sometimes is you got to do something you don't want to do, right? If I'm choosing to run, That means I might not sleep as long today because the only time I can cram a run in is before work and when my family's asleep. So I have to sacrifice sleep. I don't want to do that, right? um, if I want to lose weight, I might need to sacrifice my dessert tonight. I don't wanna, right? But I got to sacrifice that nice piece of cake and that celebration dessert I wanted because I know that's not going to get me there. So everything is a sacrifice. Now we can always create excuses. Well, tonight's my birthday. I'm not sacrificing that. I don't have enough hours in the day to exercise. I'm not going to sacrifice my sleep. Well, okay then, but then you're not going to achieve your goals. So to me, sacrifice is doing stuff you don't want to do, but you know you have to do it in order to get it done. And you have to create that space. No one's going to create it for you. You have to create what that looks like. But once you do it, it will happen.
Love it. Thank you, Stu.
Thank you.
Nice. Stu, again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with our listeners. You shared a lot of great information. I'm confident that somebody listening in today took something away from what you mentioned. Can you let our listeners know where we can find you, get a hold of you?
I'd be honored if people contacted me. I have an email set up. It's geared towards speaking to people. So it's stumanspeaks@gmail.com. And that's STUMAN, stumanspeaks@gmail.com. You can also YouTube me. I have some little mini videos and other speeches I've given to children. If you just YouTube Stu Schulman, which is SCHULMAN, Stu Schulman Ironman, Stu Schulman Motivation, I'm all there, and I would look forward to hearing from your listeners or from you.
Nice. And I always end with a question as well. So knowing what you know today, and all the experiences that you've gone through, Stu, what would the Stu today say to the Stu that weighed 270 pounds?
That the Stu of today would say, bring it, dude. You have it, right? If you will it, it will become. Just do it. Take that first step. Like I said earlier, the hardest part is run around the block for the first time and getting your blisters. Embrace the pain and bring it, because if you believe it, you will. I promise you that.
Awesome. Perfect. Stu, again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And we'll have links to all of your notes and locations and where people can contact you in the details in the show notes as well when the show goes live. And for everybody listening in, be sure to subscribe on iTunes, iHeartRadio. Be sure to drop us a comment on Facebook at Inner Success Radio. And always remember to live to your full purpose each and every day. Don't ever let anybody tell you any different. And until next episode, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.